Peace and love. Good morning, Wildcat family. I am Berlethea J. Pitts, and I have the privilege of presiding over today's historic event, President's Fall Virtual Convocation 2020. Thank you for joining us this morning. We trust that you and your families are well. Fort Valley State, our lives to thee we dedicate. When they created Fort Valley Normal and Industrial School in 1895, our founders ignited a light. That light has proven to be inextinguishable by making education available to everyone and anyone with the potential for brilliance, regardless of race and independent of social status. That light is knowledge, and it enables us to see beyond our challenges and to venture into the realm of empowering the possible by illuminating our institutional purpose. 2020, the year of clarity and vision, marks the 125th anniversary of the founding of Fort Valley State University in 1895. Please join us on Thursday, November the 5th, as we hold a virtual celebration to commemorate the contributions of our 18 visionaries during the 80th annual Founders Day Convocation at the grave sites of President Henry Alexander Hunt and Mrs. Florence Johnson Hunt. Our souls we blend to sing thy name. Eternal praise we do proclaim. The purpose of today's event is for President Jones to share with us, the members of the Wildcat Nation, his vision for Fort Valley State University through his State of the University address. As President Jones illuminates where we have been, where we are, the direction in which we as a unit should move, and what we collectively and individually need to do in order to simultaneously sustain and advance the light of this institution, please remember that each of us has the privilege of being a steward of this university. Faithful and true, Fort Valley State, we at thy call forever wait. And now, for today's Presidential Fall Virtual Convocation 2020. We will have an invocation given by Reverend Sean Drains, pastor of St. Peter AME Church, Fort Valley, followed by greetings from Mr. and Miss Fort Valley State University, and then the introduction of Dr. Paul Jones by Mr. Alexander Lowe, the Fort Valley State University Student Government Association President. We lift our hearts in thankfulness for loyalty and thoroughness. Peace and love.
Let us pray. Almighty God, you have brought us here today to celebrate the beginning of a new school year, a time that we can begin with blank slates. Although we come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different worldviews, we can all still gather as a united community here at the Fort Valley State University. Almighty God, remind us that you are still in control no matter what we are facing. Global pandemic, racial injustice, a corrupted presidential race, or personal matters. Help us to remember that your unchanging love is free to us and carry us through all the difficulties we have had this year. Help us to chase our dreams and not be discouraged. Oh God, remind us that every experience presents an opportunity to learn. Let us embrace our circumstances without fear or regrets and take every chance we can to grow together. Be with us today and throughout this coming year. Help us to remember to do good on the largest possible scale and keep scholarship, respect, and integrity at the front of our minds. As we assemble together this morning, God, we invite you to come in and grace us with your holy presence. Thank you, God. Amen.
Hate no one.
No matter how much they've wronged you,
Live humbly.
no matter how wealthy you become,
Think positively.
no matter how hard life is,
Give much.
even if you've been given little,
Forgive all.
especially yourself, and never stop
Praying for the best for everyone.
Greetings, I am Miles Kenneth Gunby, a senior majoring in mass communications with a concentration in public relations from Stockbridge, Georgia, and she is
Kiana Ashley Anderson, a senior biology major hailing all the way from Belgrade, Florida.
and we have the honor and privilege to serve as your 13th Mr.
And your 83rd Miss
Fort Valley State University.
To the 10th President of Fort Valley State University
Dr. Paul Jones,
and First Lady Sylvia Jones.
to the faculty, staff, students, and each of you that joins us today,
And to the members of our courts, please stand to be recognized. Thank you.
as we enter our 9th week of learning, we would like to remind you to follow these simple university guidelines to keep you and those around you safe during this pandemic.
Remember to practice social distancing
Always wear a face covering.
and wash your hands with warm water and soap for more than 20 seconds.
Following these protocols will help to save our community. Together, we can protect the Valley.
From 1895 to 2020, Fort Valley State has remained the pillar of light in the Valley by producing excellence and always empowering the possible.
The strong leadership and academic commitment under our 10th president, Dr. Paul Jones, has led to Fort Valley State University being Georgia's #1 public HBCU for 3 consecutive years.
As our president said, these rankings are confirmation of Fort Valley State University's devotion to supporting our students to achieve academic success. Here at Fort Valley State University, we are all in.
With Wildcat Pride,
We welcome you to the President's
Fall
Fall
Convocation.
Convocation. Thank you.
We are not bound by the challenges of our circumstances, for they are only momentary obstacles to enhance our greater success. Good morning, Fort Valley State University and esteemed guests. I am Alexander Benjamin Lowe, the Student Government Association President for the 2020-2021 scholastic year, and it is an honor to bring greetings on behalf of the student body. I'd like to take this time to recognize my administration. Members of the SGA Executive Board and Presidential Cabinet, please stand. Thank you. I would also like to recognize all of those that serve in the Student Government Association. Thank you. This morning, October 1st, 2020, I have the pleasure of introducing our president. Dr. Paul Jones was appointed to serve as the 10th president of Fort Valley State University in December 2015. His higher education career spans more than 3 decades in Colorado, Maryland, Utah, and Georgia. Dr. Jones is also a member of several boards, including the Medical Center of Peach County, Navicent Health Board of Directors, ACE Council of Fellows Board of Directors, Fort Valley State University Foundation, Middle Georgia Goodwill Industries Education Committee, and the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Executive Board. That's a lot of stuff. A native of California, Dr. Jones and his wife Sylvia were named 2012 Alumni of the Year at Utah State University, where Dr. Jones earned his bachelor's and master's degrees. He also earned a Doctor of Philosophy degree in Education and Human Resource Studies from Colorado State University. President and First Lady Jones are the proud parents of 2 adult children, Isaiah and Daphne. But not just his accomplishments. Dr. Jones is a man of vision and leadership. He's shown a dedication and direction to empower the possible on this campus. Always engaged and supportive of students, he is a man of making it happen and fighting for our experience. As I move to my seat, please allow me to share something I often say. Take the love of your heart, charge it to your mind, and go in peace. So without further ado, the 10th president of Fort Valley State University, Dr. Paul Jones.
Well, good morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the Fall 2020 Convocation Address. Fall Convocation is a time for us to come together and to share our progress and our pathway forward as a community. Now, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic protocols, I am speaking to you today in front of a reduced audience in CW Pettigrew, so I want to welcome those of you who have joined us virtually. Before I get started, I'd like to extend a special welcome to Mayor Barbara Williams and Representative Patty Bentley. Thank you for being here today. A very special thank you to our Board of Regents, our university system leaders, and our representatives for their continued support of this university. I'd like to welcome my senior leadership team, cabinet members, and staff who I rely on to help keep our institution robust and moving forward. I also want to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed and committed university faculty members and our staff, because you are the tip of the spear in our mission to shape, educate, and prepare young minds for future careers and burgeoning leaders of the 21st century. To my wife, the First Lady of Fort Valley State University, Sylvia Jones, to Miss Luann Gross, President of the National Alumni Association, and finally also to our students who inspire us, rely on us, and who reside at the core of why we are all here today. Welcome. At the start of each academic year, we normally take take the opportunity to welcome our newest employees to the FVSU community. While we were not able to do so in person this year, allow me to extend to those of you who have joined us in the past year my sincerest welcome to the Wildcat family. It is my hope that in spite of our current disruption due to this pandemic, you still feel the tremendous sense of warmth, the collegiality and family atmosphere that permeates the FVSU community. We are all pleased to have you as part of this Wildcat family. We know that you will help us to continue to reach new heights of excellence. You know, there is just something about the month of October and the transition to fall that always brings about a sense of awe and reverence for the unceasing certainty of change. Seeing leaves that were once tender and green transform into dynamic, bright bursts of orange, red, and yellow is a visible and tangible reminder of the certainty and even the requirement that change must happen. It's as if the fall leaves are demanding that you bear witness and acknowledge that a seasonal shift is underway. I can imagine that after the past 6 months of being immersed in a global pandemic, we could all use a little change in our lives, even if it's just a reminder that no matter how difficult things may be, this too shall pass. Like universities across the nation, Fort Valley State University has faced various challenges associated with the uncertainty, unpredictability, and the unrelenting nature of COVID-19. And while we are still immersed in the realities of this pandemic, as an institution, we have not only shown our resilience, we've also shown our ability to grow, learn, and to adapt to change. While this pandemic has gripped our nation and FVSU in unprecedented ways, you have demonstrated your dedication, your commitment to our students, and more importantly, to one another. And because of your continued efforts, we have continued to move the needle of success. Today, I hope to share some of those accomplishments with you and demonstrate to you why I believe that we are on the right path. At the same time that we acknowledge the devastation that this pandemic has had on all of us, we must reflect on the collective successes we have achieved as a university community and our pathway forward. As we continue to face this adversity head on, we must continue our focus on student success. We must also focus on the well-being of each other, understanding that many of you and your families have been impacted in incredible ways. I know that the adaptation to change and resilience you have made over the past 6 months is not simply by accident. It occurred because of the quality and commitment exhibited by the individuals who were part of the process. It happened because you made it happen. And I'd like to recognize some of those individuals who have played an important role in our ongoing successes and who have made stability and service a hallmark of their connection to this great university. Let us pause now to recognize some of those individuals for their many years of service. Because of your commitment, the commitment to excellence and dedication to FVSU, and your loyalty to this university, more and more people are talking about FVSU outside the walls of our institution. Many are beginning to really understand and appreciate the influence and impact FVSU has on the future of Middle Georgia and how critical this institution is to the overall growth and health of not only the surrounding communities, but to the economy of the entire state of Georgia. A committed and healthy FVSU is good for everyone, not just for those who've decided to attend Georgia's #1 public HBCU. As many of you are aware, one of the many challenges we have faced during the pandemic is a 10% budget reduction equivalent to $2.4 million in reduction to our state budget. While this has been challenging to navigate, we are very thankful this reduction was significantly less than the original 14% reduction plan and furloughs that were once part of the Return to Campus plan. We are also thankful for the Federal CARES Act funding for colleges and universities and the additional funding that was made available to HBCUs. During this spring, thanks to the funding from our Congress, additional funding, we were able to distribute nearly $2 million to students for coronavirus-related expenses, and we eliminated a $2.6 million deficit to our auxiliary budgets due to student refunds in housing, dining, athletics, and other critical fees. In addition, the CARES Act funding enabled us to significantly enhance our technology infrastructure in the classroom and beyond. It increased our COVID-19 testing capacity, our online infrastructure, and provided important personal protection equipment. Finally, while only one-time funding, we were able to reduce the number of layoffs to this university. And unfortunately, because of the nature of this one-time funding, we will have to find additional funding to avoid further impact on our employees in the next fiscal year. During the height of this pandemic, our colleagues in the University Advancement Division were able to raise nearly $75,000 for students facing unexpected hardships, including housing instability, food insecurity, and other emergencies through our Emergency Grant Relief Fund. Thanks to the dedication of our alumni and friends, we were able to support a number of students. So thank you for your tremendous generosity. This funding support was essential to the overall health and well-being of the entire student community. As you know, our budget, it is centered on the health of the overall enrollment at this university. Now, encouragingly, thanks to the efforts of the entire enrollment management team, the University College Division, and countless other departments, our enrollment for the summer was up more than 2%, and preliminary enrollment numbers for the fall are up nearly 7%, with first-time freshmen being up over 53%. And that's something for us to applaud. In fact, our preliminary enrollment of just over 2,800 students, if our enrollment holds through census over the next couple of weeks, will be the highest single enrollment since fall 2013. That is something for us to be pleased with. This is encouraging news. And that kind of enrollment will help us in dealing with the challenges not only of today, but future challenges, and will continue to help us to grow this great university. Recovering from this pandemic, it's going to call upon each of us to refocus our efforts and to leverage our new strategic plan to help navigate our pathway forward. As we quickly approach 2021, we are excited about our future, and I am pleased to share that the state of the university is stronger than it has been in the last 5 years. And the foundation that we have built over these past few years continues to solidify, and I am confident more than ever that we can go anywhere from here. Now, let me shift and discuss with you the 4 strategic priorities that emerge from a year-long planning process. My objective during this part of the presentation is to share with you those 4 priorities that we will be working on over these next 5 years. I want to share with you the inclusive nature of this process that led us to these priorities, and to assure you that these priorities will put us on the right path for moving our university to the next level of excellence. And finally, to share our next steps in the planning and implementation process. Our strategic planning process actually began just a little over a year ago and was comprehensive and collaborative. Over the past several months, we've engaged several stakeholders, including students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community members through focus groups, surveys, and many robust meetings. A critical part of the planning process was for us to conduct an environmental scan analysis, which is known as a SWOT analysis, to help us to identify our strengths, weaknesses, what are the opportunities for us, and what are those that are threats. I believe our 4 priorities reflect the principles and core values that are essential to student success, excellence, and building a better FVSU. As a university community, over the 125-year history of this institution, you have built and expanded our academic programs. You have increased our research capacity. You have even strengthened our fundraising capacity, increasing our alumni giving, both from a percentage perspective and the number of donors, first-time donors, who have provided to much-needed scholarship support to our students. In fact, from our financial health to our increased interest of applicants and enrollment to this university, we have seen positive gains in all of those areas. And for that, I simply want to say thank you. Thank you for helping us to chart that new direction for this great university. What makes our new strategic plan so exciting is that it is bold, visionary, ambitious, and more importantly, attainable. I believe these priorities will not only help to move Fort Valley State to the next phase of our history, but it will help put us on a path over the next 5 years to transform our great university. As you will see from these priorities and strategies, we are actually building on the many initiatives, the programs, and successes we have begun or have achieved. We all stand on the shoulders of those 18 founders, the faculty and staff who came before us, and leaders who worked tirelessly to get us to this point in our history. However, it is now our time to build a university where we will be unapologetically committed to excellence and student-centeredness. That is what we're being called to do. Now let's discuss those 4 priorities. The first strategic priority is about exceptional student experience. Our aspiration with this priority are that FVSU will provide students with an exceptional learning experience that will equip them with the knowledge and skills needed to excel in a service-based and global economy. This will expand experiential learning opportunities in areas such as undergraduate research, study abroad, internships, residential learning communities, and service learning that will help build the whole student. Undergraduate research is an area the university is already beginning to make enormous headway. Over the past couple of years, under the leadership of Dr. Andrew Lee, we have significantly increased the number of undergraduate students who have presented their scholarly work at regional and national conferences. We are excited that Dr. Celia Dodd has taken on this new leadership, and we know that she will help move undergraduate research even to another level of success. Several other experiential learning opportunities are already underway that will help us to expand and meet the exceptional student experience priority. Programs like our first residential leadership learning community, which is focused on leadership and started just this fall under the leadership of LaWanna Williams and is housed in Ohio Hall. I am pleased to have joining us today some of those students from the new residential learning community. Please stand and let us recognize you today. The LEAP initiative is also one of those other initiatives that got underway a couple of years ago and focuses on leadership, engagement, achievement, and professionalism. Moving this initiative to the next phase is critically important in moving our students to the next level of excellence. It is so important that we take that one initiative very seriously. And I know our department chairs and our deans are working very hard to help us move that needle forward. We have also taken bold steps to build a culture of appreciation for globalization. During the summer semester, we joined the 2020-22 ACE Internationalization Lab Cohort, which is a national consortium and is designed to help build an international infrastructure and help to develop goals and strategies for a comprehensive internationalization campus. Now, while we realize that the pandemic may slow down this effort some, now is the time for us to invest in building that infrastructure. And thanks already to our university foundation, a couple of years ago, set aside some important funding to help support this initiative. At the forefront of building an exceptional student experience environment is to create an environment of continuous improvement and customer service delivery. Initiatives like establishing a one-stop shop enrollment center, which will enhance student success and streamline communication and reduce the proverbial student runaround. We must also improve the technological experiences and programs that will help reduce the paper and many manual processes, and then overall enhance our technology infrastructure, such as becoming a more wireless campus and to enhance the classroom technology infrastructure even further. The new 5-year quality enhancement plan, which was recently finalized as part of our SAC-CLC reaffirmation submission and under the leadership of our university college, is another centerpiece to this thing we call student success. This intrusive advising plan will increase retention, it will increase persistence and graduation rates through proactive advising. As a part of the Complete College initiative from the University System of Georgia, we have already embraced this initiative. In fact, we led the University System of Georgia in the number of students registered for 15 credit hours or more, which will ensure that more of our students will graduate in a more timely manner. We are already seeing early positive signs in this important work as the 6-year graduation rate, which increased a year ago from a low of 28% to 35%. And our preliminary data from the Office of Institutional Research revealed that the new 6-year graduation rate has increased another 8% to now 43%. This is phenomenal news and further illustrates that our efforts are paying off, and we must, as some like to say, double down. Important to this exceptional student experience will be our efforts to enhance scholarship and academic support for STEM majors here, now making up almost 40% of the undergraduate majors here at Fort Valley State University. Thanks to Dr. Seema and Sarwin Deer, who secured a National Science Foundation grant and a Minority Science and Engineering Improvement Program grant, and Dr. Carr, who also secured a NSF grant. They secured nearly $3 million in funding for academic and scholarship support for our STEM majors. This multi-year funding is evidence of our increasing effort to enhance our research and scholarship agenda. It also demonstrates why this small HBCU now generates the 7th largest funding in sponsored programs within the entire 26-school University System of Georgia. That's not bad. The pandemic has accelerated our efforts in enhancing our technology infrastructure. Under the direction of the Instructional Technology Department, we have started already upgrading many of these our classrooms. Many of these classrooms were upgraded, and we were able to use our blended asynchronous learning equipment with opportunities, I think, now to enhance our online delivery. In addition, the IT department has started the process of enhancing the wireless network both inside and in strategic locations outside of the classroom. Dynamic e-forms have also been introduced to help us to reduce the reliance on paper forms and to create a digital form routing system. Another important effort underway is enhancing our facilities that are conducive to student success and the exceptional student experience. The recent completion of the Junia J. Fambro Dining Center, the reopening of Bishop Hall, a refreshing of Patton and Founders Hall, and the Downtown Art Gallery, and the outdoor amphitheater are just a few examples of creating modern, attractive, state-of-the-art, and comfortable spaces that will support our students. Our second strategic priority is operational excellence. Now, this priority will focus on the university on But we need to know how and when, so that when we can become more effective and efficient as a university. This priority will also include developing a more effective performance management system that will align with the university core competencies at the department, divisional, and university levels. We will also enhance our campus-wide processes and procedures, strengthen our documentation, and develop support training programs for employees to help improve their knowledge and to improve efficiency. In addition, this priority blends well with several of the other priorities as it calls for us to continue to focus on customer service and enhancing our communications efforts. Our next strategic priority is organizational identity. Now, here our aspiration is to be better. But not just for our students, but we must become a top choice institution for employees. Some of the initiatives that will help us to shape this priority will include, let me back up just for a moment. Got excited about the next one. But this priority blends very well, as I said, with enhancing communication efforts, but we must focus more on getting the simple things right. The important documentation, all of our policies and protocols, those things must be elevated to new levels. We have to do a better job as we think about succession planning and all of the things that we must do and build that performance management system that holds all of us at every level of the institution more accountable. And that's how we're going to leverage this plan, is to make sure every single one of us are aligned. Now, with this organizational identity and telling a better story, we are planning to overhaul the university website. We want to create university collaterals to our overall, that will help in our overall communications and the branding efforts. We will work to leverage FVSU's own radio and TV stations to provide the university information and educational programs that will enhance our brand in Middle Georgia and beyond. This priority also calls for developing a comprehensive marketing and communication plan that must help us in enhancing our recruitment efforts, keeps our alumni, donors, and community informed, and importantly, engaged with this great university. Organizational identity will include enhancing attendance at campus and sporting events, which will help us to bridge the gap between the community and the campus while enhancing the town-gown relationship. The completion of the amphitheater scheduled in February will be an important tool in helping to create the events and programs that will help us to better connect with our community. The final strategic priority is engagement and collaboration. Our desire is that city and county to improve the entrance to this campus. We already in phase one, or what we call the design phase, to renovate the downtown Kell building, which will become the center for agribusiness, innovation, and entrepreneurship. This facility will be important to helping us to develop the infrastructure, to ignite innovation and entrepreneurship for students, faculty, and small businesses. All of this will help to fuel economic development in Middle Georgia and beyond. This Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center will help connect the many academic departments here and help us to create stronger collaboration and partnerships with other innovation and entrepreneurship centers throughout Georgia. This is very important for us as we continue to look at how we expand the research agenda at this institution, but more importantly, giving our students more of that playground. When we several of the students here at Fort Valley are just like them. A few of our bright students who had an idea that may not have traveled to Atlanta with all the equipment they needed to compete against the likes of Georgia Tech and University of Georgia and others. But what they took was their mind and their hearts and their soul and that great idea. And despite what they didn't have, they won anyway. Now, colleagues, that is on us. We can no longer allow them to go down the highway with Converse shoes on when they need to have on Nikes. It is our responsibility and obligation to give them that playground to help nurture those ideas and then help them to bring those products to market. So that is why we have such a focus on bringing this center to realization, because I think our students and many of our faculty are crying out for this need, and small businesses. And so we thank our College of Agriculture and our VP for Land Grant Affairs, Dr. Cannon, for working tirelessly to bring us to this point. This important priority will also call for us to expand the business and industry cluster that is underway, and is comprised of business and government leaders to help grow professional internship opportunities, philanthropy, and employment opportunities for our students. Another example of collaboration and partnerships comes with our colleagues that are in Dr. Alan Moore and Dr. George Mbata, who are in their second year of funding from the USDA of nearly $750,000 to collaborate with the University of Georgia scientists to research the white fly transmitted virus that are attacking vegetable crops all throughout the southeastern part of the United States. Many of our faculty are doing cutting-edge work, working with colleagues all over the world. But it is our job and our responsibility to build that communications infrastructure, to better tell our story, and then to go get the other important resources to help them move to the next level of excellence. Important to this priority is our desire to expand and redevelop also programs and to recruit, retain exceptional faculty, and better align our research and outreach programs that will help meet Middle Georgia's workforce needs. Colleagues, we must be more aligned with the needs of not only Middle Georgia, but this state. We need to accelerate many of the initiatives that are underway. Our community needs us even more now than ever before, even when some of them don't in fact know how much they need our support. And it's calling on all of us to go out and do that great work. So again, the 4 strategic priorities: exceptional student experience, organizational excellence, organizational identity, and engagement and collaboration are those 4 priorities that we will be working on over the next 5 years. The strategic planning process also yields, importantly, a new university mission, vision, and value statement that was approved by the Board of Regents. Our new mission and vision statements will help us to focus our efforts and guide our pathway forward. Our former mission was nearly 1 page long, and I thank our Strategic Planning Steering Committee for having a much more succinct mission and an aspirational vision and values that we all can live and embrace with. Now that we've talked about the vision of this strategic plan, I'd like to spend just a few moments speaking to how we will accomplish these important goals. As part of the strategic planning process, we have created what we're calling implementation teams, who are tasked with ensuring we are moving every one of these priorities forward. These teams have been asked to help us develop plans from their areas so that we have alignment and that we can move the needle in each of those areas identified. Many of these priorities we recognize will require additional funding at a time that we know is going to be very challenging. We are committed to funding these initiatives and reallocating resources if we need to in order to accomplish these goals. Overhauling the website is going to be an expensive task for us as an institution or proposition, but it's more expensive if we don't do it. And so we are focused on getting that accomplished. These measures are vital because FVSU, again, is an outstanding gem capable of transforming lives. And as I said earlier, we must get the secret out. We have created a strategic planning website, which will highlight the steering committee, the full plan timeline, and the implementation team, along with leaders appointed to help with the implementation of this plan. Of course, our strategic plan is simply a roadmap that will guide our institutional pathway forward. But let me say this, it is not so rigid that we can't also address other societal, social, and cultural needs along the way. In response to the ongoing racial unrest in this nation, we have launched a social justice task force, which has been meeting since the summer to identify opportunities for FVSU to make a more meaningful impact and to provide a space for us to address shared issues and challenges, not only on our campus, but within our state and beyond. Some of the initiatives that have already been identified by this task force is to include creating a Black Lives Matter inspired mural, launching a series of lectures to give additional voice to the important plight and identifying ways to help our communities wrestle with the scourge on our nation that is impacting everyone. Finally, FVSU is seeking to create a Center for Social Justice, hopefully with an endowed chair so that we as an institution can be at the forefront of facilitating long-term conversations and developing solutions to racial discrimination, all of the disparities, and all other related issues. As an HBCU, we must be part of the solution and helping to create a safe space using our intellectual capacity of our faculty and our students and staff to help have those important conversations to move our community forward. And this is one of the ways in which we hope to have our rightful seat at the table. For me personally, one of the most striking and noteworthy developments to come out of the nation's recent battle with civil unrest has been the passionate and inspirational leadership, and social movement that is being orchestrated by today's youth. Without question, students, your willingness to take a stand in seeking to address issues involving race, police brutality, systematic disparities in policing has created a shift in our nation's trajectory. Even within our own campus community, there are modern-day heroes and heroines who have stepped forward and allowed their actions to meet their inner purpose and passion. Individuals like Anthony Thomas, a first-time freshman from Conyers, Georgia, and a veterinary tech major, and today a new Blue Coat ambassador who, following the riots protesting the George Floyd death, he left his home for downtown Atlanta to start a cleanup campaign. In an interview with CNN, when asked why he started this cleanup campaign, he simply stated, "I went down to help clean up my city because we are hurting. My culture is grieving out of an ulcer that is being ignored, that's been ignored for centuries. I don't agree with the violent actions," he said, "but I understand the validity of our pain. That's why I did it," he said. Anthony Thomas is here today, here as one of our Blue Coat ambassadors. Anthony, please stand and let us recognize you for making a difference in this world and for being the change that we all want to see. And we are calling on all of our students to stand up for what is right. Let us go on this journey with you to help you to navigate, and we will support your efforts as you move forward. Again, I believe more than any other time, our country needs us to be more engaged. One of the most pressing questions I think that everyone has asked this year during the swirl of civil unrest and the overwhelming suffering that has come due to COVID-19 has been, when will we get back to normal? Well, I think we can shed the idea that we will be returning to exactly how we lived in this nation and even how we operated on this campus prior to 2020. The pandemic, which will eventually become managed, we hope, by a viable vaccine. But we all must come to the real understanding that given the tremendous disruption in our society and even here on our campus or higher education in general, we are perhaps living in a new normal. Because of this pandemic, institutions across the globe and right here were forced to leverage technology as they have never done before to ensure that the continuation of higher education for the masses. Professors who had never taught online classes were required to not only learn and embrace remote learning, but also find new and innovative ways to teach in traditionally in-person classes. Because of the social distancing requirements, we had to overhaul how we did just about everything. Our admissions, how we delivered student services, and even how we provide meals today to our students. It's not been an easy process for anyone, but it is mandatory for all of us if we wish to survive this disruption that is real in our community. Because we found ways to adapt and leverage technology and new ways of, frankly, doing things, we've managed in several instances to overhaul long-standing and often outdated ways of how we operated that needed updating long ago. But the system-wide pause that was required to change how we do things also allowed us an opportunity to maximize limited resources and rise to a new level of resiliency. What we have seen is, as a result of these changes, has been nothing short of amazing. In many ways, we are living in that new normal I called, and we will not go back to all of our old ways. Our students have always, I believe, needed a greater flexibility. They, by offering online classes and even hybrid, I believe this is important, will be important as we move forward. And it gives more students across this country more opportunities to pursue higher education. People are busy. They are living busy lives. But the new technology now that we have for FVSU allows us to provide, I believe, even more of those students who want and need what we do here. A lot of things we're doing now, such as the flexibility we're providing for staff, teleworking, telecommuting, all of that is here to stay in some form. And I don't believe it should go away completely. These are all kinds of benefits that can be very important, I believe, to the success of an institution. We can do some wonderful things and really enhance our online educational programs even more to provide that HBCU experience, because now, to us, distance means nothing. And so we're hopeful that we can expand those options and opportunities to more students. Now, I don't have all the answers, and we haven't identified all of the ways that we can leverage the things that make us such a unique institution. But I do understand how important it will become for us to find ways to better manage our time and manage our costs. Just imagine how much resources we can reallocate to higher priorities at this university if we do just that simple part much better. And we have realized real savings. Even when we think about energy, the work that our facilities department has done over the last year has positioned us to save more than $200,000 in utilities and another $400,000 projected. Those are precious resources that now can be shifted to some of these other important priorities that we have been discussing. I know it can be frightening to think about change sometimes, as we ask ourselves, what will tomorrow look like? But we must prepare ourselves to be part of shaping it, because that is how we help others to change. We must not allow ourselves to sink into that hole where we just shrug and say, well, that's just how the world works. I believe our responsibility is that within higher education, we aren't just doing things that feel good. We have to be about the serious business of making sure that we are doing things well. The students who are coming here aren't just coming because they want just a good education. Frankly, they are coming because they want and need a good job that will yield a great future. And if we don't focus on doing what we need to do, I can assure you our graduates will just walk away with a degree and nothing else. And if that occurs, that's squarely on us. As Martin Luther King Jr. would say, that he calls is a counterfeit check. I want to give our graduates a check that they can actually cash, and not only allow them to leave here not in massive debt, but to have them, to not have their lives disrupted by that debt. We don't continue to improve our graduation rates. Students leave here, those extra years cost more money, which adds more debt. And the more debt that they incur, the more challenging it is for them to rebound. And if they leave here with massive debt, folks, they were better off to not have started here in the first place. So it's our job to continue to double down on this plan that we are embracing together so that we can ensure that we do not default on that important check that we're giving them to cash. Ultimately, I want us all to understand that we cannot move forward and thrive without adapting to change of our new realities. I am keenly aware that in some cases, because I'm the president, I will get pushback on this kind of message. There are folks who will grumble maybe and say, he's trying to change Fort Valley State. And I say, we are only trying to change Fort Valley State University for the better. You can't stay completely the same in the same position that we were in 30, 60, 90, 125 years ago and somehow think we're making progress. Some of those principles and core values that we are fully embracing in our plan will continue to make us the Fort Valley State that our alumni and others come to know. But many of the other things, it's time for us to sunset them, to move them out of the way so that the university can move forward and our students can soar to new heights. There are undoubtedly things that we do at Fort Valley State that can't be duplicated. I understand that. At other places and will remain a mainstay for us. I believe our new strategic plan is a great roadmap for us for how we can leverage the important assets, take advantage of our opportunities, and minimize the threats. It's not enough for us to say simply we have 1,300 acres of land if we just simply stare out the window and say how beautiful that is. How do we use that land to move this university forward and to give our students great opportunities? That's why we partner with Georgia Power for the Solar Power Initiative. Because by giving them to some extent what they need, it gives us what we need and will allow our students to now move into another area of exploration called renewable energies. And it is hopeful that we have a degree in the future in that area. Those are the kinds of things that we are being called upon to do and to leverage all of the assets that we have. We want to say to all students, if you choose Fort Valley State, we are going to provide you with an excellent education and provide you with a myriad of services to ensure that each one of you has the opportunity to be successful. And when we say it, I want every one of us to mean it. Fort Valley State University colleagues, I'm calling on all of you. Let's adapt. Let's evolve. Let's transform this university to its rightful place, giving all of our students the opportunities that they so deserve. Lastly, as I was recently reflecting on what I said during my investiture almost 5 years ago, I recalled a statement I shared where I said, it is with greater confidence that I believe we are on the verge of collective greatness, not because of who I am, because who we are together. That statement today, it still rings true for me. It is because of what we will do together. As we look at our path forward over the next 5 years of our strategic planning efforts, we have the opportunity to collectively advance the university together. I want to thank all of my colleagues that are here today and those virtually. Thank you for making FVSU a place where we believe in empowering the possible. It is not just some tagline that we are using. This is real for all of us. And as our Mr. and Miss Fort Valley said earlier, I need all of us to be all in. It won't be because of me. It will be because of all of us. We all must embrace this plan that we have. We must use it to help us to navigate our pathway forward. There will be things that will emerge over the next 5 years, I will assure you. But one thing I can say without any hesitation, this university knows how to adapt. This university is resilient. That is why we are here 125 years later, when others had probably written us off long ago. We're not going anywhere, but higher and higher for the success of our students. Have a great rest of the year, and I thank you for indulging me for this length of time. We are on the right path. Our university is strong. Walk with me over these next few years. Thank you, and God bless you.
On behalf of President Paul Jones and the entire Fort Valley State University family, I thank each of you for joining us today in person and virtually. Before Reverend Drains brings us our benediction, please allow me to first recognize the President's Blue Coat ambassadors. Scholars, would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. Additionally, please allow me to recognize the Peach County School District representative. Would you please stand? Also, the representative from the office of Congressman Sanford Bishop. And the City of Fort Valley Administrator, Raphael Maddox. Would you please stand? Thank you. At this time, Reverend Drains.
May the grace of our Lord, the love of our God, and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us now and forever. Amen.